Informational interviewing is a networking technique where you meet with a professional that does work you're interested in, and you are the one asking all of the questions. They can be conducted over the phone, over Skype, they could be an informal meeting for coffee, or they could be a more formal meeting in someone's office. Informational interviews are one of the best tools to authentically engage with professionals, and they have a couple main purposes. One, as the title suggests, to simply gain information. Maybe you're deciding between a couple career options. Talk to a couple professionals in those fields to find out about the industry, their career path, their day-to-day work, or their company to see if that kind of career might be a good fit for you. Second, it's to build rapport with industry professionals. Informational interviews are a great way to turn a stranger into a career ally, someone who can help you access the hidden job market that we talked about earlier in the Why Network video. An informational interview is not a job ask. In order for an informational interview to be successful, you need to go in seeking information only and not a job. When you conduct an informational interview, there are usually 3 stages of the conversation. First, start out with some introductions and small talk. Second, a question and answer session where you'll be asking questions to gain information you want to know about. And finally, conclude the interview with next steps. Introductions. This is the time to get to know each other and for you to ask a few open-ended questions such as, how's your day going so far? Can you tell me about your background and how you came to work for your employer? This is when they will most likely ask you in return about yourself, so have that introduction speech ready. During the question and answer section, you can ask any questions you want, and we provided you a list of sample ones. But I'm going to tell you about the Tiara method. This framework groups your questions into trends, insights, advice, resources, and assignments. It was developed by Steve Dalton and is detailed in his book, The 2-Hour Job Search. By asking them in this order, you are going to frame your interviewee as an expert, and over the course of the informational interview, frame them as a mentor. Trends. What trends are most impacting your business right now? It's a great way to open the interview and allows your interviewee to feel smart. You can also show some of your own knowledge by stating, in my research, I've learned that trend X is affecting business in this field. Are you seeing a similar trend? Insights. What is the best lesson you've learned on the job? Insights are slightly more personal about their feelings about their own work. Advice. If you were me, what would you be doing right now to maximize your chance of breaking into this industry? This is the time you try to reframe the contact into a mentor rather than an expert, and ask them questions that require them to put themselves in your shoes. Resources. What resources would you recommend for me? This is a pivotal question for 2 reasons. 1, what you mean by resources is purposefully vague, giving them the opportunity to offer you help in the way that they want to, which might be connecting you with other people, potentially someone with hiring capacity. Or they could start talking about their favorite trade magazine. This is great too. They may ask you to clarify, and if they do, speak about the non-human resources such as websites, blogs, news sources, etc. The second reason you should always ask this question is that it gives you a reason to authentically follow up. They tell you about a resource, you check it out, and then you can email them later and tell them what you thought about it and how it helped you. Assignments. Which projects are most common or important in your work? This is the part where you will gain the most usable information. Asking these types of questions can lead you to understand the high-value work being done right now, speak the lingo of the industry, and it'll help you answer that interview or cover letter question, what sort of work would you be able to do for us? You'll have real examples. If you are running out of time, cut assignments questions and skip to the next steps. To conclude the interview, thank them for their time and valuable information. If you feel appropriate, ask if they have anyone else they think that you should connect with. Discuss your next steps, whether that be checking out resources they gave you or following up with a resume if they've asked for it. Ask the best way to stay connected with them. Is it LinkedIn, email? Maybe it's Twitter. Tell them you will keep them posted on your job search process or decisions about career paths. Here are some additional tips on how to make sure your informational interview goes well. Dalton recommends to follow the energy. If they talk about their hobbies, talk about yours. If they sum up their career in 30 seconds, sum up your experience in 30 seconds. There are a couple off-limit questions you should avoid. Do not ask, "Can you give me a job?" Instead, ask, "What's the best method for finding a position within this field?" Do not ask, "How much money do you make?" Instead, ask, "What are the typical salary ranges within this field?" Do at least 15 minutes of research on the company and the professional before you meet with them. You should look at their LinkedIn profile. Don't worry, if they noticed you peeked at their profile, they will be more impressed that you did your research than weirded out that you looked them up. If you're doing your informational interview via phone or Skype, be in a quiet place to eliminate interruptions. Still be punctual and courteous to anyone you talk to on the phone before you reach them directly. You'll want to rely on your voice to express interest and enthusiasm, listen closely, and avoid talking over or interrupting them. If you're meeting in person, be punctual and courteous to everyone at the meeting place. You'll want to dress in business casual or professional dress. Use professional body language, that means alert posture, good eye contact, strong handshake, and a smile. Bring a copy of your resume in case they ask you for it, and bring your questions in a professional-looking notepad and take notes by hand during the interview to show that you're paying attention. My final tip is to schedule your informational interview for 30 minutes. If you are meeting over a meal or visiting the professional's workplace where they might give you a quick tour, then request an hour. Be mindful of time zone differences when connecting over the phone or via virtual platforms. Now that you know what an informational interview is and how they're conducted, in the next video we're going to discuss finding and cultivating relationships, including how to communicate effectively to network contacts.